Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the issues to do with metals and their extraction and processing, and why it can be a positive thing and why it can also be a negative thing. So we're going to start with metals which are less reactive than carbon. You've got a reactivity series in your data sheets, and carbon is on there. You've got some metals which are below it. For example, you've got iron or copper, and they can be what's called removed from their oxides by carbon because it's more reactive than carbon. Sorry, carbon is more reactive than the metals that are below it. So you do that in a blast furnace. You don't need to know the details of a blast furnace, but what happens in a blast furnace is something called smelting. So you're free to look this up if you wish to know more, but you don't have to know any of the details. However, operating a blast furnace requires lots of energy. And so that is a negative thing because energy costs money, so it's going to cost the company who are doing that lots of money. And the electricity comes from still somewhere, a power station, where you're going to be burning fossil fuels, emitting carbon dioxide and some sulfur dioxide. So you're basically, carbon dioxide contributes towards global warming, sulfur dioxide contributes towards acid rain. So indirectly or directly, in fact, the blast furnace is releasing these gases. I will cut there, put a little cut in. Cut. Okay. However, extracting the metals which are less reactive than carbon by using a blast furnace means you are having an industrial process. So you're employing people to do that, creating jobs. The local area where you're doing this will need roadways, so you're improving the roads around that local area, so that would have a positive impact on the people in the area, providing them jobs and better facilities. Okay, then we looked at electrolysis. Okay, so the next process was electrolysis. For metals which are more reactive than carbon, you cannot extract them by reacting with carbon, you have to do something else. So we very briefly looked at electrolysis in the lesson. Again, the details of electrolysis are not needed. Electrolysis uses a lot of electrical energy. So for the same reasons as the blast furnace, not a good process in terms of the release of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, because the electricity is generated from power stations which burn fossil fuels, and so they're releasing CO2 and sulfur dioxide as well, or small amounts of sulfur dioxide. So again, CO2, carbon dioxide contributes to global warming, sulfur dioxide contributes towards the formation of acid rain, both of which are bad things for the environment. But again, electrolysis might be expensive for the company because they happen to bring in all that power from somewhere and pay for it. But you're still creating jobs, you're still providing the roads needed to go towards the plant, so you're improving the local area. But the flip side of that, as with the other one, if you've got lots of roads, you've got traffic noise, air pollution, noise pollution, so a negative for the area, but you are providing jobs. Anything else? Okay, so with electrolysis there are lots of stages. So with electrolysis there are lots of stages to it. So each stage requires lots of energy, and that then is going to cost you money again at each stage. So the more stages are, the more expensive it is. So electrolysis is very expensive because of the multiple stages that there are. So to sum it up, the extraction of metals, you've got positives, negatives. Okay, so to sum up, you've got positives and negatives about the extractions of metals. So your positives are you're creating jobs in the local community, you're improving roads, you're improving the local area, and yeah, so that's it. So positives cut. Whereas the negatives, you might have noise pollution, air pollution. You've got the fact that it needs a lot of energy, so it's going to cost you a lot of money. And you've got negatives: noise pollution, air pollution from the actual site. You've got extra road usage for, say, more vehicles on the road. You've got the fact that it requires a lot of energy, so that's going to mean that that energy is coming from the generation of electricity by burning fossil fuels, so you've got the release of CO2 and SO2, so carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide. Okay, so what we're looking for in the lesson is whether you can recall some of the positives and some of the negatives and talk about both of them in a paragraph. So watch this video whenever you need to, or as many times as you need to. Look it up on the internet if you're concerned. Remember, you've got Caboodle and obviously Google and GCSE Bitesize. So there we go, that's the video about the manufacturing of metals.